Well, as it is the month of Fright, which is October, I had recently realized that I haven't done a review of a horror movie. And for about 1 or 2 weeks, I was racking my brain, and I couldn't think of anything that I wanted to do. Mostly, I was bouncing back and forth between The Shining and for some reason The Babadook. Even though I've already reviewed it, I don't know why that was popping in my head. But my fiance saw this movie on Netflix that came out last year and suggested, hey, why don't you watch it and see if you can review it? And I thought, fuck it. Raw is a 2016 French, Belgian-made independent horror film that follows this girl named Justine. She's a vegetarian, and she goes to a veterinarian school. When she gets there, she partakes in some strange initiation rites, including eating raw animal meat. And when she's forced to eat the animal meat, it begins to spark a bit of a cannibalistic flame in her. Now, sorry if I butchered this, I actually wrote it down. Garance Marillier? I think that's how you pronounce her name. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but she portrays Justine, and I think she did a fantastic job in the film. Throughout the progression of the film, she seems to be trying to find herself emotionally, spiritually, and even sexually. She starts off as this very shy, meek girl, and then when she descends into basically insanity, she becomes more daring, sexy, terrifying, just all the adjectives that you can think of for that kind of thing. Because I really can't think of any at the moment. The way that her narrative is presented makes the film feel like a very fucked up coming-of-age story. Everyone else in the film does a pretty good job, but especially Ella Rumpf, I think her name was? Yeah. Who plays Justine's sister Alexa, who I thought was actually great. I thought that she was almost on the level of... Sorry, I was feeling a little bit of random throw-up. I thought that she was almost as great as the girl who played her character's sister. I do also have to point out, for those of you who like horror and will likely watch, and it's the fact that there's a character in here who, I swear to God, looks like the fucking rapper Drake. I mean, it has nothing to do with the review, I just thought it was kind of funny. It made me chuckle a few times every time I looked, and I'm like, what is Drake doing here? For the film itself, about halfway through watching, I realized that I had heard about the film before. Yeah, when the film was going through the Toronto International Film Festival, or TIFF, as they call it, it made headlines for being that movie that made many people sick. Sick to the point where people were throwing up in the aisles. Hell, actually, I'm pretty sure one person had to be taken to the hospital by paramedics because they were so sick. For me personally, I only had one gross out moment, and it really actually doesn't have anything to do, or really anything to do with the cannibalistic stuff. It's just, I don't know, after that scene, I actually felt like everything else paled in comparison to that one scene. And the story is pretty compelling as well, although I do have to point out one thing with it. At the start, seeing the mentality of the entire school, I really wanted to scream because it was very stupid to me. The initiation rites were unusual, including a Carrie-like bloodbath, and then they actually have a dress code that has a thing labeled nightclub attire, or at least so one of the girls says. And the girls specifically are supposed to look slutty, and seeing this movie made me very curious about what the fuck do the French do in their universities. Cinematography is actually really intriguing as well, because it puts a lot of focus on the human body and just the bodies of dead animals. And I guess it makes sense, especially for the former, since this is a cannibal horror flick. And I actually got the vibe that the director had a strange fascination with the human body too. Yeah. I will admit that there were a few times while watching that I actually did get a bit bored because the film slowed down, and, excuse me, because of that, I don't think that the film's very well paced, but that complaint is mostly for the second half of the film. In the end, Raw was actually a pretty good movie. I'm actually glad that I watched it. It's well acted, shot in a very intriguing way, and then I kinda like this twist on the coming-of-age story, and I did feel like it didn't go overboard for the sake of going balls to the wall insane. It felt like a good enough amount of gore and blood, and, you know, cannibalism, and not the kind that's used just for the purpose of shocking the audience. Though I don't feel that it's as gross as it's been reported as, I still warn you guys, if you get easily nauseous with these kind of films, best to steer clear. But if you're a fan of horror, especially body horror, then I think you'll enjoy it. As for me, I'm giving the film 3.5 reels. Well, that'll do it for me today. Please subscribe if you haven't already for more reviews and content. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and farewell until the next video. Bye.